Quick question. Have you ever had a moment in your life where you're about to experience something absolutely amazing, but then through no fault of your own, that moment is robbed from you by something that is completely unjustified? Well, that's how myself and every hockey fan feels after last night's game between the Boston Bruins and LA Kings. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm feeling fired up today, and this piece of content is going to be very different from what you're used to seeing on this channel because I'm feeling like a good old-fashioned rant. And that's because the Boston Bruins and LA Kings faced off last night, and we nearly got a goalie fight, but the league and the officials stepped in yet again, ruining a moment and robbing us of something that we wanted to see. I think every hockey fan would have loved to see this, but for some reason, they just don't want this kind of stuff happening anymore. So today I'm going to get into last night's game, this moment, and why I think the league made a massive mistake by not letting this happen. So in last night's game between the LA Kings and Boston Bruins, the Kings completely just beat the wheels off the Bruins. And as a Bruins fan, let me just go on a tangent here. There have been very few moments post the deadline where you can hang your hat on and say that that was exciting. I mean, the last game that I remember being excited about was when they faced off against the Panthers like 3 or 4 days after, where Nikita Zadorov beat the wheels off of Sam Bennett, and there were still some hopes that the Bruins could make the playoffs. So shout out to you, Big Z. That was one of my favorite moments from the season, but again, I digress. Going back to the LA Kings and the Boston Bruins last night, there was a play within this game after the Bruins were down by, I think it was about 4 or 5 goals at this point, where Kuznetsov bumps into Darcy Kuemper. Kuemper clearly doesn't like this, so he pulls off the helmet of Kuznetsov, trying to retaliate. If you look at the other side of the net, Jeremy Swayman notices this play happening, goes right up to the red line to challenge Kuemper, standing up for his teammate, quite frankly, which honestly I think is a huge shout out to Swayman for doing something like this. Darcy Kuemper notices, goes right up to the red line, and accepts the challenge. Both guys drop the mitts, and then ultimately the officials step in right before they can even throw a punch. Complete disgrace in my eyes. I think this was a moment that a lot of fans were robbed of, and that a lot of hockey fans just would have thoroughly enjoyed, and probably would have brought some more viewership, or at least outside viewership, to the game from something like this, because it happens so rarely. I think there's been under 50 goalie fights in NHL history. Now, I also want to talk about another play that happened, I think it was about a year ago, maybe a bit more, where Jordan Binnington and Marc-Andre Fleury had an almost identical play happen with them and the officials. Jordan Binnington gets scored on by Ryan Hartman. Hartman bumps into Binnington, so he retaliates. And then from across the ice, you see Marc-Andre Fleury skate up to stand up for his teammate. Both guys drop their gloves, and then the officials step in yet again, preventing us from watching something that could have been huge for the game. Now, if this had happened one time, okay, that's fine. Maybe the officials just used a lack of judgment and wanted to keep players safe because maybe all of the fights were getting out of hand. But last night, there wasn't really like this massive breakout where the officials had to stop multiple fights from happening. It seemed like this was the only fight that was going to go down. And with Jeremy Swayman and Darcy Kuemper both looking fired up, both looking like they wanted to accept the fight, not like a situation where one guy was being a little bit more reluctant and the other guy was in his face. If you remember, there was one between Braden Holtby and Emery where he didn't look like he wanted to take the fight, but Emery wasn't going to take no for an answer, so he kind of just had to accept the beating. Again, this happens, and I understand why officials want to step in and try to protect players, but this situation was not like that. Both guys clearly wanted to tilt. They were both upset. It was a big matchup, and every fan was invested. And again, as a Bruins fan, there haven't been a lot of exciting moments where I've been like, yeah, Boston Bruins hockey this year. And this was one of those that I would have really enjoyed to watch, and I think would have really helped to grow the game. But again, I'm not too sure why the NHL and officials are stepping in these moments. I'm not sure why this is one of their big focuses when they allow nearly every other player to fight, but for some reason, goalies are off limits now. Some of the best highlights in the sport are from goalie fights. It's just something that's so rare that when it does happen, I think every hockey fan just wants to talk about it for days. It's like a goalie goal, if that makes sense. Anyways, I wanted to come on here and kind of talk about this because I've seen creators, analysts, and fans all being very upset about this. And as someone who was watching the game last night, as someone who is a fan of the Boston Bruins, no matter what their state is, I just thought this was a bit ridiculous, and I think we all deserve some kind of justification from the league as to why they feel this way about goalie fights and why they're trying to prevent these from happening. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Again, I just wanted to come on here for a rant and to hear your guys' opinion. More content's going to be coming out this week. I got a fun video in store this weekend, so if you guys want to see more stuff like this, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next episode.